All right, good afternoon. Good to see everyone. Before we get started, I'd like to say that our thoughts and prayers are with Coach Graham Clark at Dobbins Bennett with the tragedy that his family's going through right now. And I know he's meant so much to Malik and Thomas and Devon on our football team. And again, life is very fragile and puts things into perspective. So I'd like to let him know that we're thinking about him and his family and moving forward. In terms of Alabama, as the week progresses, a very, very difficult football team to prepare for. A football team that has great depth. They challenge you just in terms of scout teams. We really don't have the luxury of going scout teams. All of our younger players are participating, so we've had to break up and practice, have more like an NFL type practice with ones versus twos and twos versus ones. But when you look at a complete football team, that's what they are, and I think they really resemble, the difference of building a football team and building a football program that stood the test of time. Very well coached. But when you look at them defensively, 7 seniors, 3 juniors, and only 1 true freshman playing. And then offensively, 4 seniors, 4 juniors, 2 sophomores, and 1 redshirt freshman. They have great depth across the board. It's going to be a great challenge. But I know our players are looking forward to the opportunity to compete in this great game and what it brings about. We're still fighting the injury bug a little bit. I'll know more in terms of a lot of these injuries come tomorrow and Friday, but that's where we're at in our football program, and I just have really been impressed, and I appreciate our players with the resiliency, and one individual goes down, the next individual is ready to go. And I think that speaks of our character, and I think you'd be hard-pressed with the amount of injuries we've had this year that would rival anyone in the country. But I think our players have done a great job. They've shown great resiliency, and we're looking forward to getting the second half of the season getting started here very soon. So I'll answer any questions you may have.
Butch, Alabama last year in pass defense efficiency was 7th in the SEC. Now they're 1st. Why do you think that much improvement on their pass defense efficiency from one year to the next?
I think them moving Eddie Jackson to safety has really helped them in the back end. They took an individual who was a shutdown corner. I believe the other safety also played corner, and they have great cover skills across the board. They're very, very deep. And then I think what they have is they have depth, but they also have what we like to refer to as diversity amongst the defensive front. They have individuals that are big-bodied, 2-gap players that are very strong, that can hold their gaps, and then they have quick athletes that they can bring in to rush the passer. So I think they have great depth, they have great diversity, and they have individuals that have corner skills across the board that can play man coverage. And, you look at all the spread offensive teams they've played, and the goal of a spread offense is to create space, and they've condensed their space. And they've closed that space gap just because they're able to play man coverage and tight man coverage. They're able to generate a pass rush that always helps your pass efficiency defense as well and your overall defense. But I just think they're very, very deep and very, very talented. They have individuals who were number 1 in their respective positions in recruiting that don't even start for them. And again, that's the illustration of building a football program.
Hey, Coach, your special teams have been really solid this year. Do you think special teams might be the best opportunity to make a momentum-changing play against Alabama? And then also, how well the job has Mark Elder done with that unit this season?
Well, Mark's done a very good job, and he oversees all of our special teams, and then we have lead coaches. So Steve Stripling actually runs the kickoff team. Coach Elder runs the kickoff return team. Coach Z runs the punt return team, and I run the punt team. And then he coordinates all that, and he's done a very good job. But special teams, we feel, is always a way to change momentum, create momentum for us, create a big play. And we'll be challenged, obviously, against Alabama because they have very good special teams and very good personnel. But our players also, I think, when you play really good special teams, that shows you the the character of your football program in terms of indisputable role understanding. Everybody understanding their role, taking pride in their performance, taking pride in their role, and executing it. We have individuals that, their job or their responsibilities so far have been limited to special teams, but they're performing at a very high level, and they're helping us every way, shape, form to win football games because of their efforts on special teams.
Coach, in your secondary, what do you think you got accomplished in the bye week, specifically with Justin Martin?
Just overall as a group, the fundamentals, the details, the tackling, the eye discipline in terms of Justin, really been pleased with Justin's progress. He's a very instinctful player. The thing about Justin is he's a very intelligent football player. He understands the offenses, what they're trying to accomplish. The big thing for Justin has just been the volume of repetitions. He was set back a little bit in training camp, with the knee injury of not being able to perform. So he's kind of making up for lost time, but I've been very pleased. He's had a great mindset, a great attitude, and he's a competitor. He competes every day, and he's helping the secondary get better with that.
I didn't hear your first question, so I apologize if this is a repeat, but I think I saw Nico Kramer run scout team Derrick Henry yesterday. Just in general this week preparing for Bama, how do you try to simulate their size, speed, and physicality?
Yeah, you did miss that's exactly what we talked about. It's what makes playing Alabama even that much more challenging. It's hard to duplicate, it's hard to replicate, however you want to use, to simulate it in practice because of their depth, the size of their football team. We have had Nico Kramer running at the running back position a little bit. I think he's actually enjoyed that. But we've had to go more good on good with service periods like most of the year we've been able to do, just because we don't have the depth right now in our program to go full scout teams and get the quality repetitions that we need. So it's very, very hard to simulate with the different skill sets that they have, not only on the defensive side of the ball, but the offensive side of the ball. And, they have complementary players with diverse skill sets, and that's what makes them very, very challenging to prepare for. No, it's the first time. We've had to use a tight end at times to play a big quarterback, but it's going to be a great challenge for us. But obviously we see Jalen Hurd every day in practice as well, which I feel Jalen is one of the top running backs in all of college football. But facing Derrick Henry will be a great challenge, and obviously we have to be a great tackling football team because he's shown the ability to break arm tackles, but also he can make you miss at the second, third levels of a defense as well.
Butch, I guess a lot of your players have talked this week about being ready to compete more than ever against Alabama. I guess what has gone into that is the personnel improvements here, the mindsets, and then obviously the season being in some very competitive games and winning against Georgia. How much has all of that gone into it from a personnel to really just a mindset as well?
Paul, I would say all of the above. We're still building this football program, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear it, but it's reality. And it's the mindset, it's the competitive culture in the football program, it's the confidence, it's the love for football, it's a love for competition, it's a love for each other, and it's the expectations in our football program, and our players have done a very, very good job with that. And we talked about, finishing strong for 6 and seeing where that puts us. But just focusing each week on being 1-0. All we're interested is one-game winning streaks. You win one, then you move on to the next, you move on to the next. And like we talked about, each game is a new season in and of itself. And that's how you have to approach it. And it takes a while with a young football team to get that across. And we always talk about focus on the journey, but you have to focus on the climb and not the mountain every day. And as soon as you start getting outside your focus, that's when you lose focus. And in today's world of everything that's going through the life of these young adults, when they come here and you have them for 3.5 hours in a day, you have to be locked in with your focus and your determination. And when you're playing a team like Alabama, not only do they have great players, but they have very good schemes as well. And so you have to be locked and loaded, and our players have done a very good job of that.
You had mentioned Alvin on Monday, but I'm just wondering, now that you've seen him practice a couple days, how has his approach been? What's his approach been like this week? And also, what made you decide to try him out in punt returns this season? I don't think that was something he'd really done before.
With Alvin, the same approach he's had the entire season. Very, very consistent, never too high, never too low, just consistency in his performance. Very determined and very accountable. Alvin is a very reliable individual. He's very, very driven, and he's very, very mature. And I think he relies on his past experiences, not only at Alabama but also at the junior college level. And I think that drives him. And he's very, very mature. The way he's come into our football program and really embraced everything, he's been a great resource for us. And I can't say enough about him. In terms of a punt returner, we always start training camp off trying to find as many punt returners as we possibly can. So we have open tryouts on our football team. It's just like, can anybody long snap or short snap? And catching punts is a great skill. I think it's one of the most difficult skills in all of sport, because not only are you catching a punt that has about a 4.2-second hang time, you have 9-10 individuals running down trying to tackle you, and you have about 6.7 seconds for a team to run down and force a fair catch or make a tackle. And he's done a great job with it. And right off the bat, we found that he had a skill set for it. And he earned our trust by the way he practiced and the way he performed. And then when he got into the game, he was very, very productive, obviously. And we have great confidence in him. And our players have great confidence in him, as they do Cam Sutton as well.
Specifically, how important is the running game going to be in this game between you guys and Alabama, seeing how much you guys rely on it offensively?
If Alabama makes you one-dimensional, you're in for a long day. And you look at all the teams that they've had great success, which is pretty much all of them, they've turned teams into being one-dimensional football teams. And we have to be able to have a balanced attack. We have to be able to run the football, and we have to be able to throw the football. And you're playing a great defense that doesn't give up much yards. They don't give up much rushing yards. But we have to be persistent with the run. We have to be patient with the run. But it's going to come down to execution and big plays, because they're a team that if you get in third and long against them with the diversity up front, they're going to be very disruptive on third down. So winning first and second down, or mixed downs, as we call them, are going to be very important.
Coach, what have you seen different in Alabama's pass schemes this year? Brian Randolph said he sees a lot different schematically. What do you see different?
I think it's based on the game. Each game is something new, is something different. Kind of obviously they want to run the football with Derrick Henry, but each week it's something different. It's almost like a new scheme at times. Maybe a little more attachment plays to their run game with passes behind it, which is really the flavor of college football. But there's some things that don't change. They do a great job of putting their players in one-on-one matchups, moving their wide receivers around, doing some different things there. The quarterback has made a difference. He's able to now make plays with his legs. He's playing with a high level of confidence right now and a high level of execution as well.
Butch, has Ja'Shawn Robertson been able to practice at all this week? And if he's not able to play on Saturday, would you look at Dylan Wiseman in that spot?
Yeah, right now Ja'Shawn has been very, very limited, which he has been all year. So today and tomorrow are big days for him. I'll know a little bit more later in the week. But Dylan Wiseman will be an individual who could bump over. You know, we ask a lot out of Dylan from playing left guard to right guard to center to a lot of things. But obviously that would change things. Jack Jones, individuals that gain those valuable repetitions in the Georgia game. But Dylan would be one of those individuals that would be in the mix to move over.
Butch, it's kind of a follow-up to Dustin's question. How do you manage the unknown? You talk for season openers about, you know, the unknown of an opener, but you're 6 games in. How do you handle defensively managing the fact that you may get something they haven't shown on tape all season? How do you manage that, particularly early in the game?
It's the ability to adapt and adjust, and communicative. A lot of times you have to rely on your older players that have been through those experiences, that understand. That's why the volume and inventory of plays that they see, that an individual sees over the course of their career, is very, very important. That's why usually older players can adapt and adjust to schemes more so because they've seen more of it, and that's just accumulation over time. But for the most part, our players have done a good job with it. But the first couple series of the game will be very, very important because that'll kind of tell you the storyline, the flavor of the game.
But Jake Coker said that he does not like to slide, and in the A&M game he tried to run over some people. So when he is scrambling, how mindful do you have to be that he's not a guy that would slide, that you need to make sure you tackle him and not let up?
You have to be very mindful of that. And, it's very difficult on a defense anytime you have a running quarterback, but particularly when you get to that gray area of the sideline with different penalties and all that. So sometimes it can take the aggressiveness out of a defense, but I know their football team really, really lives off of his competitiveness and his toughness. You can see them get excited when he has big runs and when he plays with the physical style of play, and I know they feed off of that. So we've talked about it. Obviously they see the video, so we can't assume anything, and you have to assume that he's a running back when he gets outside the pocket.
Butch, Jalen wasn't at practice yesterday. Coach DeBoer said he was battling the flu. Is he expected to be back today, and how big of a concern is that going this week?
Not a real big concern. He's already checked in for treatments, and he'll be at practice, and he'll go through a full practice today. So the big thing was getting him in bed, getting his body right, and we fully anticipate him being ready to go, and he should be at practice and participate the entire length of the practice today.
Butch, you mentioned how Alabama likes to change out the guys on the defensive line, bring in different personnel. Is there a way you can use your tempo to kind of get them in some situations where they have guys that maybe they don't want to have on the field in that situation?
Yeah, I think every team has attempted to do that, but they do such a great job. They're so talented that when you get to third down opportunities against them, they don't really care what personnel grouping you're in. All they're trying to do is to get their personnel on the field because they're a veteran group. They can adapt and adjust to what personnel grouping you have in, what formation you have in. I think that comes with experience. So they do a very, very good job of getting the right personnel on the field. They've done that all year. But tempo, is always a big part of our plan. But they do a great job of really countering that. Is as soon as that play is over with, leading into third down or any type of situational defense, they do a really good job structurally of getting those players on the field. Have a good day.